This is my friend Rebecca Beckett. She is the content coordinator for the Modern Motherhood podcast. Hey, I don't know how many of you in Boss Mom world are working with remote teams, but I'm telling you, we've had so much fun and have such a great friendship, a very important friendship in my life. And we've actually been able to meet in person. It's not that we've never had face to face, but for the most part, we conduct this friendship through lots of phone calls and texts and a lot of laughter and through screens. And you're a very important person in my life. So
Thank
I'm
you.
glad to have you in my life.
So fun.
So you and I got to have a conversation because we were talking about that the first of the year is so, it's when I say first of the year, I'm meaning school year. I mean, it's that opportunity to kind of reset and reevaluate. Am I getting everything done that I intended to get done at the first of the year? Is that actually happening? And so we were also talking about the conversation that I had with my daughter McKenna that you tuned into, where McKenna was talking about sponsoring a child through compassion. And I had said that, once McKenna started doing it, then it was something I'd intended to do, and then was like, oh, well, my teenage kid's using her babysitting money to do this. I should probably jump on board. And so we started sponsoring a child. And you let me know through a series of emails and texts that you had decided to go ahead as a result of that conversation and also go ahead and sponsor a child. So what was your journey and what initially was your weight and what did you learn about the weight on the other side for a kid in need?
Yeah, so I've learned about compassion a lot of different events, concerts that I've been to, and always thought, that would be so great. I should do that. It would be great to show my kids, but we just never took the opportunity to actually, once you leave the event, it's sort of like, it's there, but I'll just put that off, another day, another week, another year passes by. And it's funny because we were getting ready for school, as you say, and I do all these weird things like purging the house to get ready for back to school. And so we were cleaning out the playroom, and I had all this stuff just strewn about the house, all this kid stuff. And I was like, my kids have no idea of the world. They are they're consumed with all of this stuff, and they're telling me they're bored, and I have an entire living room of toys that they don't even play with because they just have so much. So first of all, I made them get rid of half their stuff, and then I said, what can we do about this? And I had been listening to the McKenna interview at the same time thinking, what, this is something tangible that I can do to show my kids, what you have here isn't a reality for everybody, and they should know that. I was thinking about how do we even develop empathy in our kids when all they see is stuff everywhere and things everywhere. They don't even understand that people are struggling. And so I guess it was a tangible way to show them that it's something different. What we have isn't the norm, and that we should step out and put people first before all this stuff that's all over our house. And hopefully they'll develop a little empathy and knowledge of the world along the way.
You and I've played around with this phraseology. We talk about wanting to give our kids the world, and yet we don't really mean the world. We're talking about giving them more possessions and more opportunities, and we're not really thinking if we say we want to give our kids the world, that means giving them a great understanding, a really important picture of what it means. And I love that idea of being very intentional about teaching our kids how to empathize, not just what empathy is, but what the function of it looks like. My husband Mike has this thing he does when he wants to remember to tell you something, that he does his fingers like this, and I had my fingers down behind the microphone. I was like, oh, I want to, because it was so funny. You were sending me pictures when you were going through that big purge, and we almost had like this texting, like one-upmanship going on. Oh, you think that's a mess? Let me show you this. Let me show you that. We were showing each other our trashed houses and game rooms and all that kind of stuff and kid paraphernalia. But you and I both made a discovery that I had been unaware of, and you had too, as we went a little bit deeper in looking at things with compassion. Talk to our listeners about what this whole process of these kids who are in a community in which compassion has come in, they're resourcing, they're helping, really elevate that community. There are children in that community who have received sponsors, specific sponsors, through compassion. And then there are kids that they are helping, but those children know they have not been sponsored yet, and they know that they're waiting. And you and I talked about oh, wow, I didn't know that was part of a child in need. I didn't know that was part of their landscape when compassion comes into a community.
Yeah, I had no idea that the children know that they are waiting for a sponsor. And I think about my kids and I'm like, gosh, what do they even have to wait for? Um, I think, on a daily basis, they'll ask me for something and I walk into the kitchen and give it to them. Or, oh, mom, can we order that on Amazon? And, it arrives in our house in 2 days. We don't know what it really means to wait. I mean, sure, we probably have gone through things in our life where we have waited for something big to happen. But when you're waiting for that sort of support, I don't know. I don't know that I even know what that feels like to feel like all these people around you are being chosen and it's your life kind of on the line. It's like your daily necessities, it's your food and you're looking and seeing why not me? Why do I not get chosen? And just that feeling of even when I send my kids back to school, I want them chosen on the playground. I want them to have friends, all these things. And it's like, of course, I want that for this child too, that we chose. And so I hope that sponsoring our child that they know that, hey, we chose you, you are important, and we're inviting you to be part of our family in a sense, and that yeah, I hope everyone out there wants, to make the effort to choose a child because I think it's so important.
I think that too, for me, as we've walked this process of having the child in Uganda that we have in our lives, I love that it's one of those things that I feel like I am doing for my own kids too. So I feel like I'm doing for him, but I feel like I'm doing for my own children. And that whole process of helping them to become so much more aware of really what the condition of I was trying to think of the stat and I may butcher it, so forgive, but I think I've read somewhere before that if you have some kind of refrigeration for your food in your house and you have carpet on the floor and you live in more than just, a couple hundred square feet, you are in some of the top percentages of what is considered really wealthy in the world today. And I think that we lose sight of that. We don't really always understand that within the context of our first world cultures. And so to begin to help my kids understand and value more not the materials that we have, the material resources, but just the responsibility, to value the responsibility of what it means when you're not having to spend the bulk of your days satisfying just basic survival things.
Yeah.
Then the responsibility you have to pay that forward and how critical that is. Now, sponsoring a child, I don't know what people think is involved. It's super easy. Like, how long did it take you when she went, oh man, I've been waiting to do this. I've been meaning to do this. I've heard McKenna again. I've been purging the toy room. I've got some
Yeah.
conviction on me. It's the start of a school year, which is like really New Year's for moms. So how long did it take you to sign up?
It took about 2 minutes. So went online. I let my children choose the child
Oh,
that
I
we,
love that. That's
and
awesome.
the boy that they chose, Andre, has actually the same birthday as my son, which we didn't know when we chose.
Oh, oh, wow.
So he was really excited about that, and I thought, what a great parallel to be for him to be able to see. Okay, this boy is the same as me. He's in a different place. He might speak a different language. He might live in different conditions, but really we're all the same. And so I think it's going to be really cool. It took me 5 minutes to sign up. I got an email right away from Compassion and then a packet in the mail of how I can write letters to our child. And they even have options now online that you can send letters, which I loved because sometimes the barrier of getting to the post office can be kind of overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So just have options for you to be able to keep in touch with your child, and they make it really easy.
Yeah, I just pulled out a file as I'm sitting here in my office at my desk, which is why it's kind of quiet in here. We did a Facebook
Yeah.
Live with the kids in the background. I'm hoping they're getting that math completed that I asked them to do. But there actually is an app that you can put on your phone. I was going to see if I could pull it up real quick. But I also have a file. Yeah, here's my app right here. And you can just put in your child and you can write to them. You can have their picture before you so that you can see them. It's really a cool thing. And so you just log in and you're able to write your child, remember to pray for them, see what's going on with them. And then, you do receive, this is our little guy. I just love his little face. And he's in Uganda. And you just receive, we receive letters from him in which an interpreter just lets us know what's going on in his world, what he likes, what his preferences are, that kind of thing. And then if we want to write back by paper, look at his little pictures. Aren't they so cute? These have to go on my refrigerator next to my kids' schoolwork that they're hopefully doing right
I
now.
think that's so good that you said about the translator too, because I was worried about language being a
Oh,
barrier.
yeah, yeah.
And online, they show you the language your child speaks, but you don't have to speak that language. And
Right.
so I was like, oh no, can I choose a child that speaks Spanish? Yeah, they help you communicate. So
Right.
don't let that be a barrier.
Right, absolutely. They have a dedicated team. And so, for example, if you're wanting to write them on paper, you would write your letter to your child here, and then the translator transposes it over here. And so they absolutely will have access to that information. We've sent him pictures of our family and stickers and little birthday gifts, things like that, and it's really a joy to see him starting to grow. We've got pictures of when we first started sponsoring him up to now, and he's growing, and it's just an exciting thing to see. So Rebecca, thank you so much for letting us know
Yeah,
about
you're
your
welcome.
process in signing up. Again, I think a lot of us have been to concerts and venues, and we've heard it talked about, and we just haven't made that step. It's super easy. It's just a little over $1 a day, and you can make a tremendous difference in the life of a child, not just the child that you're sponsoring maybe across the globe, but to the children in your house. You can make a big difference for them
Yeah.
as well. And
And they
so,
will ask you questions. I mean,
oh
it's not
yeah.
comfortable when they are like, well, I don't understand. Why don't they have video games? I don't
Right.
understand. Why don't they have
Right.
McDonald's in the street?
Right.
I don't understand. And so it's just a great way to open up the conversation for
Right.
your own heart and for your kids too.
Right. It's not enough to teach our kids about geography. We got to
Yeah.
teach them compassionate geography. If we want to raise
Yeah.
world changers and kids who are, really understand about taking the love of God, they have to really understand the condition of the world. And this is a great way to do that and to be making a difference at the same time. Not just talking about conditions in other countries and trying to use that as a leverage for our kids to understand the blessings that they may have here where we live, but for them to also understand there's an action behind that. There is absolutely something we should be doing about that, not just talking about the condition in other parts of the world, but actually going and changing that. So Rebecca, thank you for being so transparent about the
Yeah.
weight that you were engaged in, and then the proactivity that you've now engaged in, and taking that very simple step. Just jump in online, compassion.com/allmomdoes. Jump in online, a couple 3 minutes, choose the child that God has for you, get them signed up, and away you go. And you've just been a world changer. So, Rebecca, I'm so thankful for you in my life. So thankful that we are getting the word out about compassion.
Yeah.
And I am just looking to doing more and more podcasts and blogs and all kinds of stuff with you, and really hopefully helping moms and encouraging them and bringing them a lot of hope, practical good tips, and inspiration. So, all
Sounds
right.
good. Thanks,
See you
Julie.
soon, friend. Bye.
Bye.